Okay, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises. Let me say Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Racha Chodash. Double honors to my apostles, elder bishops here in Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Lord's hopeful elect scattered abroad. I'm the brother Taza War from the GMS New Jersey camp. And once again, another morning. Got a quick video that I would like to play while I take this ride to the gig. And this is due a video on a meeting with the Bilderbergs. They had a meeting that kind of went under the radar. I didn't see nobody else talking about it, but this guy here, he's talking about it. And these are your world leaders, all right, which the scriptures speak on the house of Esau, all right. You have the biblical Edomites, which is the race of what the world today calls the so-called Europeans, all right, and the Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, so-called Mexicans, so-called Haitians, Hispanics. You are the true Israelites that the Bible speaks of, all right. The tribe of Judah, all right, is the actual Jew, okay, because Jew comes derived out of Judah, all right, and the Hebrew word for Judah is Yahweh, which means Yahweh praise, all right. Maybe I can also should go through a list of the tribes and their meaning of their names, and also the meaning of their names and how it's so spiritual, how the Lord, you know, what he called us, all right, through Jacob. So anyway, you know, this is a video that I'd like to play. So without further ado, let's just play the video.
Right now, the entire world seems to be on fire. You listen to any major news channel and all you'll hear is news about conflicts and protests. However, what no one seems to be talking about is a very secretive meeting of some of the most powerful and corrupt people in this world.
You're on the wrong side of history, Stacy. God is watching you. You're gonna reap what you sow. The Trump administration needs to get you arrested, and very soon.
The Bilderberg meeting is not new. It's been taking place annually for more than 70 years now. And let's be clear, it has always been scandalous. I mean, the founder of this extremely secretive group was Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, and he was a very controversial man, to say the least. After the prince's death, a Dutch royal palace official found a card while going through his stuff. This single-handedly proved all the claims that good old Bernhard used to be a member of the Nazi Party in the 1930s. But things don't just end here for Bernhard. He was also involved with the corrupt American defense industry. In fact, he even received a bribe from Lockheed Martin back in the 70s. So you can see the Bilderberg meeting has a pretty shady history, but things have only gotten worse over the years. We all know how much our billionaires love the idea of depopulation.
In the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. That's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. These countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology, and if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity.
We need to eat less meat. We need to stop land being used for cattle and growing grain for the billions of animals that we keep in our intensive farms. And then finally, we cannot hide away from human population growth, because, you know, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
Well, this year the Bilderberg meeting is all about depopulation and migration. And to get the...
Now who the hell is these devils, you know, to say that it's too many people, you know, on the planet? This system that they created, all right, is the problem. It's not the people. It's this system that they have created, this pit. This way that they allow us to eat. This way they allow us to buy and sell. You know? This system is the problem, not the people. And this is the wicked, you know, you see? And what you think they're going to do about it? You think they're just talking about it? No, they're doing something about it. So real quick, brothers know where I'm going. This is the book of Malachi, chapter 1, and I'm going to read the NLT version. It says, this is a message that Yahweh gave to Israel through the prophet Malachi. I have always loved you, saith Yahweh, but you resort, really, it says, but you resort, really, how have you loved us? And Yahweh replies, this is how I show my love for you. I love you. I love your ancestor Jacob. Now, I hate that. I don't like that. Let's read Malachi 1 and 1, the KJV. It says, the burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh, yet you say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh? Yet I love Jacob. So who did the Lord love? He loves Jacob. Scriptures speak on how he hated Esau. Right? Because Jacob, all right, is who he gave his blessings to. Jacob was the rightful seed. Okay? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then Jacob's children. 12 tribes, man. It says, verse 3, and I have hated Esau and laid his mountain and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. This just proves why the Most High hates these devils. You know? Because look what they're coming up with. They don't want to fix the system because the system itself helps them to continue to live their lavish lifestyle. You know? So they'd rather eliminate people in the earth. That's the wicked. That's the wicked, man. Right? And it says, whereas Edom say, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, which means the Lord of armies. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh have indignation forever. So the Most High hates you, Edomites. And who are the Edomites today? Starting with the Bacon families, the Bilderberg, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Dupas, the Gettys, the world leaders, the 1%, the Illuminati, you know? All these different names they go by, but instead they're really just the house of Edom, the house of Esau. And the Lord said that they're the borders of wickedness, so they are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. So you heard it. I'm going to wind it back, you know, because they're not hiding these things no more. If you watch these meetings that going under the radar because of everything else, all the different current events that's going on. You got World War III beginning, you know. You got all this other stuff, Trump, you know, King of Babylon, everything else. And these guys and these Edomites slip in a meeting and they speak freely, being recorded and everything, you know. So the Lord has indignation, which indignation means righteous anger. He has righteous anger toward them. Okay? Man. Let me go to another precept real quick. I was thinking about Ezekiel 25. Right? Is it 25? Yep, 25 and 12. It says, thus saith Yahweh, right? Because Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly around this curve. It says, and have taken vengeance and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. And who is Judah, right? Salakia. On the back, Salakia. Bring that back. This is Ezekiel chapter 25 verse 12. Thus saith Yahweh, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended, and revenged himself upon them. Therefore thus saith Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and I will cut off man and beast from it. And I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger, and according to my fury. And they shall know that my vengeance, saith Yahweh. So, because you devils have dealt against the Israelites, the tribe of Judah, especially the Negroes, the Lord said he was going to take up this indignation by the hand of his people to destroy you. All right? Because their main target is you so-called Negroes, which is the top tribe, Judah, of the Israelites. And they know that if they deal with you, all the rest will follow. All right, so this is prophecy. There's going to come a time when the Lord is going to have his way with you devils by the tribe of Judah, all right, by the hand of his people Israel. And who's the top Judite? Yahushua, who the world ignorantly calls JC. He's the top Judite. He's the number one elect, first spirit created, the Father's only begotten Son. Okay? And he's coming back in an angelic power, man. Scriptures say he will not meet thee as a man. He will not meet you as a man. So he's coming back to deliver the elect of Israel. And at the same time, he's going to crush your empire. He's going to destroy this whole foundation. And the Most High going to put it under the earth, man. All right, he's going to melt every element, man, by the way of thermonuclear destruction and by the concentrated fire of the chariots of Yahweh, in which the world called UFOs, but those are angels that ride in those swift vehicles that go in and out of different dimensions, that can materialize and dematerialize. Yeah, the Lord going to set fire to this place, and this place is going to be like it never been. You know? The water, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. You know? That's prophecy. And we're in the beginning of World War III. This is sweet. You know? Even though it's darkness, but the light is coming. And that's Yahweh Shah. You know? Things are getting rough, or will be. You know, when shit really hit the fan. But guess what? Scriptures say in 1 Thessalonians, you have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord. Oh, am I mixing scriptures? Let me get it. I don't want to mix scriptures now. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay, 1 Thessalonians 5:1. It says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. So Yahweh Shai is coming back. And he's coming back as a thief. And that makes perfect sense for him to come in the daytime. because that's where you really least expect, right? So let me continue it. Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travailed upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So you're not going to escape out of the hands of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. All right, first and foremost, you Edomites are going down. Thus saith the Bible. All right, you other nations and these different militaries are going down. Thus saith the Bible. You 2/3 of the Lord's people are going down. Thus saith the Bible, man. And Kwam Yasha'Allah to the elect of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, man. You know, to Yasharallah or Yasha'Allah, not Rallah. No brothers say that, but it's Yasha'Allah. All right, he brings power, man. It says, but you, brethren, are not in darkness, so that day shall overtake you as a thief. It says, ye are all children of the light and children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. You know, that's beautiful. That's the importance of being in this truth. The instructions is to watch and be sober. You know, there's so many videos and so much news going out. There is no excuse, man, for you not to be doing the lesson. You know, shame on you if you ain't on fire right now for this truth. Because there's so much news out here. Yeah, we got responsibility. Yeah, you know, your whole day is gone, but you can make ways throughout the day for your videos, man. And do it in the spirit. Quench not the spirit. You know? So let's continue on in the video. It's a lock here for that. You know, hey, sometimes you get long-winded. It is what it is.
Best advice on this issue, they chose to invite the president of the World Economic Forum, Jorge Brende. And let me just show you what kind of views he has about it.
That have shrinking populations. That's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. These countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And it's a promise. I didn't say it's going to happen, but it's a promise of all that transforms productivity.
We need to eat less meat. We need to stop land being used for cattle and growing grain for the billions of animals that we keep in our intensive farms. And then finally, we cannot...
Yeah, because they want you to eat lab-grown meat. They want you to eat fake foods, man. Laboratory meat, man. You know? They want AI to create your food so they can take up all of the food from the actual real animals that we supposed to eat from. You know, the Most High gave us a dietary law. It's food we can eat, it's food we're not supposed to eat. Some foods out here are unclean for you. Alright? And yes, we can eat meat. For these guys out there that claim we're not supposed to eat meat. No, it's lawful. That's what the dietary law is all about. What you think we do at the Passover? You know, that's a part of the law. Take a lamb, alright, without blemish. What you talking about? It's like it. Hot. All right, so they want to do that, so let's listen in again.
Cannot hide away from human population growth because, you know, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500.
So Laki, I'm gonna keep stopping and saying interjecting because, you know, I have to. All right. Like she said, the problem is the people, but really the problem is this system they created. And really they're just being greedy E. You know, greedy E, man. He want everything for himself. You know? He want everything for himself, man. You know? Get off this damn bridge, man. Let's continue.
Years ago.
Well, this year the Bilderberg meeting is all about depopulation and migration. And to get the best advice on this issue, they chose to invite the president of the World Economic Forum, Borge Brende. And let me just show you what kind of views he has about the world.
If I understand the panel right, the primary solution would be a global carbon tax where you internalize the externalities. If you have a carbon tax, you'll then price on carbon. We don't like taxes here. Okay. Sorry, we're from Europe. Sorry, we're from Europe. You know.
Of course, they also wanted to discuss the Middle East and the authoritarian axis right when a new and scary war started.
So is this normal? Anybody who's familiar with like air traffic patterns for military aircraft? Because these are all stratotankers, and I was outside before and I just kept hearing like plane after plane. So we live in an area where there's already high military aircraft traffic anyway, but it sounded like it was just like kept going. So I hopped on ADSB exchange and I just was looking around, and these are all stratotankers.
And this is where I want you guys to see just how insane it is that so many powerful people can just gather at a place with no oversight and decide our future. In this same meeting, we had Admiral Samuel Popero, who is currently the commander of the American Indo-Pacific Fleet. We also had General Christopher Donahue, who is the commander of U.S. forces in Europe and Africa. This means two of our most powerful military officers were at this meeting, and there was only one elected public official who happened to be Congressman Jason Smith. And according to the rules of this meeting, people can't really share who said what. They can only share whatever information they feel like sharing without mentioning any names. So we don't know what was discussed in this meeting. We just know that the founder and CEO of Anduril was at the scene, and I've just told you how this company is trying to create AI super soldiers. This is huge news. Palmer Luckey, the military weapons mastermind, just locked arms with Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, the global mind control empire. And let's be clear, this isn't some flashy tech deal. This is a blueprint for domination. Military-grade systems plus mass surveillance plus total digital control. They're not building tools to improve your life. They're building a system to trap your mind, your body, your future, a world where every thought, every moment, every choice feeds straight into their machine. And
right, which goes into the MOTB, the micro C-HIP. They want the technology inside you. All right? That's what it's all about. You know, if you check out the interview with Aaron Russo and Alex Jones, before Aaron Russo, died, he mentioned this. But the scriptures tell us, the Holy Spirit, right, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim HaKadosh, has already forewarned us, told us prophets, right, through his word, what it was. Everything else just makes it more evident. Okay, start with my head apostle to heart. Okay, us brothers here at Great Millstone, all right, are prophesizing through the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bashim HaKadosh, and giving you this truth. So like he said, I'm gonna wind that back a little bit, because that's the whole plan, is to change this system, put us in direct control, have direct control and order over us, so where there is no way out. Everything you do, everything you buy and sell will be documented. It would be traced. Even if you give somebody 1 cent, it will be recorded. Right? So let me play that back.
Names. So we don't know what was discussed in this meeting. We just know that the founder and CEO of Anduril was at the scene, and I've just told you how this company is trying to create AI super soldiers. This is huge news. Palmer Luckey, the military weapons mastermind, just locked arms with Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, the global mind control empire. And let's be clear, this isn't some flashy tech deal. This is a blueprint for domination. Military-grade systems plus mass surveillance plus total digital control. tool. They're not building tools to improve your life. They're building a system to trap your mind, your body, your future, a world where every thought, every moment, every choice feeds straight into their machine. And here's the terrifying part. You'll walk right into it willingly, scrolling, posting, laughing, while they quietly flip the switch. Once this system is fully in place, how long before you can't escape? How long before they own you completely? This isn't about the future anymore. It's already begun. And what's really interesting is that the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has attended multiple meetings over the years. And right after the latest meeting, his entire tone about President Trump changed. I'm sure you remember what kind of things he was saying about the US president.
I don't think we can change Donald Trump. I don't think so. Not at this stage.
So whether you have spider veins, varicose veins, or you just don't like the way that your legs feel at the end of the day, it's swelling, it's cramping.
I don't think we can change Donald Trump. I don't think so. Not at this stage. And a person who draws his inspiration from President Trump like Pierre Poilievre will kneel down before him, before he stands up to him.
Well, during the G7 summit, he seemed to be in awe of President Trump.
Nostalgia isn't a strategy. We have to change with the times and to build a better world. And some of you, such as you, Mr. President, have anticipated these massive changes and are taking bold measures to address them. All of us around this table are reinforcing our militaries and security services for the new world.
Of course, when we're discussing wars and weapon deals, we cannot forget about Peter Thiel, who also made an appearance at this meeting.
Do you have any comments about Palantir's surveillance of the American people, sir? Or any of your connections to Jeffrey Epstein?
Peter Thiel, my clip of you is going viral because the people know what you're doing, pal.
When I say some of the shadiest people were there, I'm not exaggerating. Even the CEO of Pfizer, Albert Bourla, showed up to this year's meeting.
Hello, how are you doing? I want the meeting with the Bourla.
I'm just hoping no one agreed with his ideas because we all know how that's gonna go. But as you can see, this meeting looks extremely sketchy, and it's not a surprise that people are wondering if these men are the reason why the world keeps burning. And while all of this was happening, our attention was kept at bay by all those paid protests. Funny enough, the LA officials are now asking the federal government to pay for all the damage caused by all those riots.
I am demanding full accountability and reimbursement for the local costs incurred, including injuries to local officers and damages caused by the chaos unleashed when the Trump administration recklessly deploy the military and ICE agents into our communities. They are the ones who created this unrest, and they are the ones that need to foot the bill.
Another story that kept Americans occupied was the brutal assassination that took place in Minnesota.
We're here today because an unspeakable tragedy has unfolded in Minnesota. My good friend and colleague, Speaker Melissa Hortman, and her husband Mark, were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination. Our state lost a great leader, and I lost a dearest of friends.
Now, first off, it's tragic what happened to those families. And what's really insane is that right before Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were killed, she had sided with the Republicans on a bill.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
DFL Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman emotional following the House's adjournment from a special session Monday.
I did what leaders do. I stepped up and I got the job done for the people of Minnesota.
Hortman was the lone DFL lawmaker to cast a vote to cut Minnesota care access for undocumented immigrants.
As you can see, there's a chance that the shooter might have targeted her for this support, but so far no manifesto has been released. In fact, they're now saying there's no manifesto at all.
With respect to the potential motive, let me say this. There's been a lot of press coverage and speculation and discussion of a manifesto. I've seen nothing like a Unabomber-style manifesto in his writings.
The family members of the shooter keep saying he was a Trump fan, even though he had no King's protest flyers in his vehicle. And on top of all of this, we now find out that there were officers at the scene when Miss Hortman and her family were attacked. So this guy took out 2 people while 2 police officers were at the scene? Then what was the point of having those police officers there in the first place?
They got him, but does it make any sense? I'm talking about the Minnesota suspect. It doesn't make any sense. He goes to a location, he takes out 2 people, proceeds to travel 10 miles in what they said was a police car like vehicle, dressed as a cop, wearing a mask, and yet commits a heinous crime. But not only that, he engages with officers, and it said that the police had him cornered in the house. But somehow he gets away. Allegedly, he sends a text to his roommate. Wait, they said he was married with 5 kids. And the roommate reads the message to the meet, doesn't allow them to see. When asked to reread the message, he refused it. That it hurt too much. Police find the wife's vehicle loaded with documents like passports and a so-called manifesto. This is all alleged. And the next photo they release is him and his Burt Reynolds smoking the Bandit cowboy. Looking at the body type in the photo, it really doesn't match the cop-looking guy there.
DraftKings Casino app. It's got something for everyone. Like tons of slots. Winner, early bird dinner.
In the Bandit cowboy. Looking at the body type in that photo, it really doesn't match the cop-looking guy that was at the front. Plus, that security camera has some sort of filter to make you look thinner. Then, day 2 of the search, they find his cowboy hat in another vehicle. So it took better part of 2 days to locate this when officers supposedly had him cornered in the house. How did he get away? Like, none of this story makes sense. And I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying something doesn't add up. What do you guys think?
As you can see, it's all pretty weird and confusing, and like most cases these days, I don't think we're going to find out the truth. Now, moving on, I want to talk about what they found in Antarctica. Scientists allegedly just found a massive black sarcophagi buried beneath the ice in Antarctica, and the internet is going insane. A June 2025 article claims it was a joint operation between the US, China, Russia, and India. Sounds like a setup already. But here's the wild part. No photos, no peer-reviewed papers, no official confirmation, just another mystery vanishing into the Antarctic ice. And every time this frozen continent makes headlines, it's always the same themes. Ancient civilizations, secret tech, hidden bases, pyramids, and now sarcophagi. But nobody ever gets answers. Why is one of the most remote, lifeless places on Earth locked down tighter than Fort Knox? 50 research stations and not a single one reported this. Either it's all BS or it's the biggest cover-up on the planet. Because let's be real, Antarctica isn't just cold. It's off limits, blacked out, and buried under layers of global secrecy. What the hell is actually down there? And why do they want us so badly to look away? This Antarctic situation kind of reminds me of the city they allegedly found under the pyramids. This is some wild news. They just found another hidden city beneath the Giza pyramids. And no, this isn't a scene from a movie, it's real. Using ground-penetrating radar, researchers detected massive underground structures over 600 meters deep. Not tombs, not chambers, pyramid-like formations buried deep beneath the surface. This flips everything we've been told. For decades, we were taught the pyramids were only surface monuments, but this changes the entire story. Some reports even claim there are vertical shafts, water systems, maybe even a hall of records, a legendary chamber said to hold lost ancient knowledge. And right on cue, the establishment is already trying to shut it down, calling it unscientific, unverified, not peer-reviewed. Same old tactics. But ask yourself, why are discoveries like this always dismissed before they're even explored? Why the panic when something challenges the official narrative? And here's the craziest part. This isn't the first time strange things have been found under Giza, but every time someone gets close, the door slams shut. Research goes dark. Access denied. So, What are they hiding? And finally, did you know that lab-grown meat is now FDA approved? This is disturbing news. The FDA just approved lab-grown salmon, and yes, it's already being served at a high-end restaurant in Portland. The company behind it, Wild Type, is only the 4th in the US to get this kind of clearance. It's being pushed as a sustainable fix for overfishing, especially since Pacific salmon stocks have dropped 30% since 2000, according to NOAA. But let's not ignore what's really going on. This is the start of a full-blown shift in how your food is made and possibly controlled. A Nature food study says lab-grown meat could cut emissions by 96%, but we still have zero long-term health data. Only preliminary safety reviews have been done. And while surveys say 60% of Americans would try it, that hasn't stopped the backlash. People online are already linking this to Bill Gates and his investments in synthetic foods. The public isn't just worried about taste, they're worried about control. Lab-grown meat isn't just a food trend. It's a test run for replacing everything on your plate with something made in a tank. And once it starts, who decides what's safe to eat next? Look, folks, I wouldn't be so skeptical of this lab-grown food trend if Bill Gates weren't putting so much money into it.
And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone. About 6% of global emissions are cows who burp and fart methane to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
The fact that he's backing it tells me that we probably should do more research to find out if this lab-grown meat is going to shorten our lifespan drastically.
All right, so, that's basically it. That's all I got. I'm going to leave you with that. Just a report this morning. Bilderbergs, the elite banking families, what you call the House of Esau, had a meeting that went under the radar. But all these things, man, are taking place, which is proving the wicked, that they are the wicked, excuse me. But that's it. Hopefully you take this information and build, let this word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua build upon your faith toward the Lord. So I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushua, B'Hashem Racha Kodash. Double honors to my apostles and elder bishops here in Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Lord's elect. Shalom.